Welcome to Impact Masters Podcast in collaboration with Africa's Talking Retold Podcast, where every conversation sparks new insights. Join us as we delve into the stories of extraordinary individuals who are shaping our world. Movers and shakers in tech, policymakers, entrepreneurs, entertainers, and all those whose stories are worth telling. Get ready to be inspired, challenged, and transformed. Welcome, and let's embark on this journey of discovery together. Impact Masters Podcast. You can check us out on all social media platforms. You can also find us across all podcast channels. Simply search for Impact Masters, then subscribe, follow, and share. www.impactmasters.io. Here's your host, Michael Kimathi.
What are the bilateral agreements and terms from a trade perspective which we have with our international markets? Are they still valid in today's current world? Or do they need to be revised to be favorable? You know, I was watching a clip the other day by the First Lady of Sierra Leone, right? I think it is Sierra Leone, yeah. And she was talking about even today how the oil segment in that market still continues to be governed by the French, meaning that before any production or even as it's produced, it's already the market is already known.
Yeah,
it's already sold.
Yeah,
or let's just not even go back. It's already sold. Where we say that these policies are the system is systematically, deliberately, and intentionally structured to ensure that we can't have anything.
Yes. And that's a Madam Vice, it's the First Lady.
That's a First Lady.
Now you see why Gen Zs are a bit...
this is the First Lady of Sierra Leone.
Disappointed by the leadership?
Yeah. So how do we make sure we change these things?
Gen Zs have a solution, by the way. If anyone is listening or trying to see what they're trying to say. Number one, they're saying you don't have to wait for all this time. All right? Some of them actually have gone ahead and built some platform that if anyone is serious about really changing Africa, we could actually change it every single day. Number one platform they built is where actually we could analyze laws before even they pass and have public participation instantly as you go. And you just need your phone and maybe a bit of a platform. You can implement even AI and machine learning to even decipher so that you don't read so much of that document. You can even go ahead and translate it to your local language, whereby if you don't understand the Western language, which is official in most of the countries, you can maybe do Swahili, you can maybe do Zulu, you can do, whatever language that is conversant with you. Then you can actually give feedback, and then that feedback is recorded. So there is no wahala. It was given, it was not given. So if you actually take what actually you have been used to and merge it to what, the Gen Zs all over the world, not even in Africa, all over the world, they're saying that these things could be done. And the platform that you have built, such as TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, all these platforms, they have grown knowing this platform actually, you could communicate with someone thousands and thousands of miles and be able to make a decision instantly.
Are we embracing those technologies and those platforms?
That's how some of these movements are organized.
Good.
And you can see actually, today you say Nairobi is where people are going to demonstrate. They're in Malaba, right? Tomorrow you say someone is demonstrating in Mombasa. Maybe they're in Narok. So you see, in this case, it's a collective, no-influence, issue-based cry for help. And I hope someone is going to listen to that because if they listen, no one says you should not be the president. You're just saying, as the president, are you in touch with what is happening? Or you're just hoping after 5 years you go to your tribesmen, bribe them, and then bribe a few other guys and get back to the seat. So you can do whatever you want, think you're doing the right thing. No, that time is long gone. So I think there's a huge solution here that if we all embrace, even us in tech actually, because everyone is a leader at a certain level, we can actually collectively say, what are we saying here? Because even the movement that we're running at our different respective areas, it can be much faster if you are able to embrace some of these things and use the technology wisely.
Yeah.
And say, guys, I know I want to become a billionaire in 3 months, but if I build systems at work, I don't need to be a billionaire. I could go to a hospital, get treated, and maybe I don't get charged. The tax that I paid when I was very able as a civil servant, as an entrepreneur, as an employee, could serve me until I die honorably, right? So there's a huge conversation around there. And it's good that you have said, let's relook. And now Gen Z are saying, don't even wait. The technology support it. Let's do it
Let's look
every
into
day.
that.
Yeah, so that's a very, very good analogy you have given there. And I think also even the businesses are suffering the same consequences, because you employ a Gen Z, you think you have employed a millennial or a boomer, and you're like, you climb up the ladder. But they're saying, I'm too smart. Why are you not using my skills? The next day they don't come to work. You're like, hey. And the next thing they quit. You're like, what did I do wrong?
No warning.
I did not listen.
Yeah.
That's what you didn't do. They told you, I can do more. Just appreciate me a bit, facilitate that. It doesn't have to take me 50 years to get there. We can all get there. So there's a huge conversation. And I think this is not only to the government of the day, anywhere in the world. It's about people. The times have changed. So we all embrace this. And it's good actually that, I'm talking to the most influential people. One of them being engineer, Yinka, who has actually mentored over 5,000 plus entrepreneurs and young people. For me, I've always had this issue of mentorship versus apprenticeship. I don't know if you have done both or you have considered both while implementing, the program where you help, advise, and, mentor these young people. Which one has worked and which one has backfired? Or if they have all worked, which one actually really goes a long way to even create a ripple effect?
Between mentorship and apprenticeship.
Yes.
So they actually mean two different things.
Yes.
Apprenticeship in some cases means you have to hold a person by the hand. There's no way you can teach a person how to manufacture a cell phone by not having them physically there assembling over time.
Yes.
And be doing it.
Yeah.
So apprenticeship is needed in some cases where somebody needs to acquire a lot of physical skills to do things. Mentoring can be done virtually, can be done any way or whatever.
Yeah.
Either way, they are both two-way streets.
Yeah.
The mentee has to be ready to be mentored, and the mentor has to provide the time for the mentee.
Yes.
A big difference between them a lot of time is, as a mentor, you do a lot of things that the mentee may not know about. You position them. You put their names in places. You are their faces when they don't even know you are talking about them. And I can give you one example. I got a text a few days ago that someone is looking for a person in certain countries for some positions. So I just gave them a name in Zambia and say, call this person. Because I didn't have time to be calling the person. I said, call the person and tell them, I told them that you will call them. So those are the times you do people goods or values that they don't even know you are doing. So you've been with them, you've appraised them, you know who they are, you know the basics of who they are and what they can deliver. So at that point, you can just plug their names in places. So as a mentor, you plug in a lot of places. Well, apprenticeship is when you have to hold somebody and say, okay. And there are some cultures that do that very well. The Indian culture, the Chinese culture. If you first go somewhere, you know you will be an apprentice for 10 to 15 years. So you come into Nairobi, I have a restaurant. You're going to work with me for 10 years. In those 10 years, you're an apprentice. In those 10 years, you learn how to wash the dishes, learn how to clean the rooms, learn how to do all the things you need to do, including buying the materials and equipment, including paying the rent, including handling a lot of things. So over those 10 years, you learn. At the end of the 10th year, I walk away and I give you the business. and you are paying me back in some kind of way. So there are a lot of cultures that have those type of things. The type of one to be done will be dependent on the business as well as the personality or the relationship between the two people. So they both work.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure you can say this one works better than the other. Again, it's dependent on the personality and the business.
Yeah. And in Africa, are we doing more of apprenticeship or more of, mentorship?
Good. I like the way you spun that into Africa.
Yeah.
We've got issues.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing we all, first of all, need to identify. Some of the comments you guys were making earlier, why can't these things happen in Africa? First of all, we need to like ourselves first.
Yes.
We don't yet.
Yes.
We also don't know one another. We don't know ourselves. So we've been beaten on the head to be inferior for hundreds of years.
Yes.
And that inferiority is still fighting with us. I mean, why would a guy need 10 cars if you don't have an inferiority complex?
Yeah.
You have a complex.
Yeah.
That's why you think you need to have 10 Rolls Royce to be human and to be big. All right. So we have a lot we need to change. I'm going to roll that into even your comment about your tea or coffee. First of all, you need benevolent leaders, meaning someone that sit down and say, I am the aggregator of these seeds of beans of coffee. I'm going to play and be knowledgeable in what the market is globally. I'm going to edge for my group. I'm going to do all the things I do. I'm going to negotiate for my people because I can actually speak the language. They speak where the buyers go. I'm going to prepare my people. I'm going to be open with my people and say, the market during this month go up. During this month go down. You know what we need to do? Let's hold. Let's sell when it's convenient for us. So we have a whole lot of that we don't do. When you take that into leadership and where the continent is, yes, the Gen Zs have, like you said, we don't need to reinvent anything anymore. An example I like to use is from your comment earlier about your rotary phone to 1 terabyte sitting here. I mean, if I have the money,
yes,
do I need to go from rotary, go to go to Turaya, go to Nokia 3310, which still was a very
it's still good.
Those things, you throw them down the bounce, they still work, right?
Yeah.
So those, do you need to go through all of those before you get to something like that? You don't need to. We can leapfrog.
Yeah.
So the average, what AU should be doing today, and I think when we talk, we need to talk to all our leaders at once.
Yeah.
One of the things that that I think they can do better on is a couple of years ago, we were celebrating One Africa passport.
Yes.
My leaders, that's a waste of time.
Yes.
Why are we celebrating? Well, we will never get the same passport, one passport for the continent in the next 50 years.
Yes.
What we need to do is to make sure people can travel with what they have.
Yes.
Back to what the CEO said earlier. So when we have issues, we need to deal with our issues. We need to stop wasting time. Most of the leaders are 50, 60, 70.
Yeah.
They've lived more than half of their lives.
Yeah.
Then we need to guide and leave good legacy for people. We need to get the continent to leapfrog.
Yeah.
We can't crawl anymore. So when you look at technologies out there for them to use, I think the most painful part of it, our children are the one designing this program for the Western world. There are a lot of buildings here in Nairobi where they call them service companies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They are servicing. I mean, there's one company I was talking to in, where is that mall on Thika Road?
TRM.
Yeah, whatever. I was talking
City,
to the people.
yeah.
They are the one doing customer service for some big companies in the US.
Yeah.
Which means our kids are good enough to lead.
Yes.
Let's stop wasting our children's lives. Let's put money down all our continental banks. We need to, I mean, there's a lot we need to work on. You know, you guys were talking about banking before. Do we really have banks on the continent?
Nah.
Do the banks do what's right? Do we just sit down and sit and make interest on trade?
Yeah.
On COT, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
COT is how they call it, right?
Yeah.
We just sit back and collect money on COT. A lot of the other countries, when you go to the bank, The bank tells you want to borrow $10 million. Yes, we'll give it to you. However, we'll choose your CFO. The reason being that they need someone to watch their money. And then they will help you, get you research, get you support, technical support to incubate and grow that money. We don't do that in African banks.
Yeah.
All they do is to say, sign here, you pay 25%, 2% for the pen, 3% for the water, 2% for the toilet. You know what that means? You're borrowing at 30%.
Yes.
There's no business you can do if you borrow the way banks lend money in this continent that can be successful.
Of course.
So we are built to fail.
Yes.
So I mean, the issues on the continent is humongous. We need benevolent leadership. We need all our leaders to come together and do what is right. We cannot be slaves forever because we're still behind.
Still slaves.
We're still somewhat because people come in and they do whatever they want to do on the continent. I mean, look at some of the examples you give. Yes, what's wrong with us having our own money to have a tea farm?
Yeah.
And I mean, our children are the one in all those countries working for those corporations.
Yeah.
Bring them back home. Pay them well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? Let them come home and use the brains they have globally. That leads me into the passion of what we are doing today.
Yes.
The New Africa.
Yes.
Which is based on knowledge, networking. Networking is the biggest thing. One of the things we do wrong, as I said a few minutes ago, is we don't talk. Today I've just met you.
Yes.
You've known me now.
Yes.
If you meet me at the airport flying tomorrow, you have a person to sit down next to, having a drink of Coke, and we are talking.
Yeah.
So you're building relationships. We don't do that enough.
Yes.
Our countries are still divided.
Yeah.
Our countries are still separated. And they are separated by a virtual or imaginary line somebody put in them that doesn't even exist.
And set some rules around it.
I said to my and unfortunately, the guy that drew the line was very intelligent because he put those lines between tribes, the same tribe.
Yeah.
So you are from Meru. There's Meru in Tanzania, Meru in Kenya.
Yeah.
Masai,
Tanzania,
Masai in Kenya.
Yes.
Luo
Yes.
in Uganda. Luo in Kenya.
Yes.
But guess what? Those local guys that don't drive like you and I, educated guys like you and I, they don't have a car.
Yeah.
They just walk and cross on that side.
They don't know the borders.
And they're looking at us at the borders. They look at those idiots.
Yeah.
And then you and I take a passport. You know, mine is better than yours.
Yeah.
Mine is thicker because I travel more than you.
Yeah.
So I throw it down there, they stamp mine. And the other guy is going, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we need to open up and say, we have similar problems continent-wide. Leaders need to sit back. Forget all these old times of, we talk like this, we talk like that. We need a new Africa. And yes, that is my own personal support for the Gen Zs.
Yes.
And what they are doing.
Yes.
Again, it has to be structured. You have to know when to retrieve. You have to know when to make things move forward. Because tomorrow, you will be the 50-year-old also.
Yes.
And you don't want those new Gen Zs coming 20 years from now. They'll be a little crazier than the one of today, right?
For sure. They will be Gen Alpha, not Gen Z.
Oh, they call them Alphas?
Yeah.
But the other thing too.
Yeah.
Why are we even following Zs, Alpha, Millennia? Why can't we have our own name? Let's call someone called Generation Kidogo, Generation Sasa. I mean, why are we Gen Z? Why are we Alpha? Why are we things we don't even understand?
Because we are brainwashed.
Exactly.
Yes.
Which is what we need, why we need to go away from what the world is telling us.
Yes.
The people that enslaves our parents, that when our parents are sick on the boat, just sneeze, they throw a live person in the water to be eaten by fish. So they're not the one telling us which way we need to go.
Yeah.
It's a new world.
Yeah.
We need to take our position in this world. There's no need to fight anybody anymore. I mean, we all have the brains now. Our children are the one designing all these apps. I mean, look at the taxi apps.
Yes.
Why can't Africa have one taxi app that a percentage of it go to AU for helping put the money down to design, a percentage of it go to the government of the country, and then the bigger percentage go to our children driving. Most of our students, our children today that have good degrees can't get a job. So they're working, driving a cab. They don't know who's taking money on the other side. That guy take 20 or 25%. They don't even know who the guy is.
Yes.
and we say we have a life.
Sitting outside the continent.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be done, and we just need to, first of all, stop lying to one another. We need to get out of all these, I don't want to hurt somebody. That's yesterday. We need to talk facts and care. Care, be benevolent, and care about where the continent is going.
Yes.
If we don't want to stay where we are for another 50 to 100 years.
And just to be fair, there's an African app, I think in Eldoret, Nakuru, known as Maramoja. It still really works well, actually, if you go to that city. Because when Uber came in, actually was targeting Nairobi and Mombasa. And you can just tell why. Because that's where most of the tourists, when they come in, they visit a lot. So they want that same experience for them. But no one thinks about places like Nakuru, places like Kisii, places like Kisumu, places like Eldoret. No one thinks about that. Also, there's another hub, apparently, that is being built here about, cab by one of our colleagues. So, to be fair, there's a lot that's going on. All I can say is that also when you introduce some of these solutions to our fellow Africans, as you said, that hate that we have, or we have been brainwashed to hate what we own, again with the brands, need to really move, because someone would rather strike for a week and, say they want money to be added on Bolt or Uber or all these places, and will not appreciate the home solution because maybe the guy didn't have much engineering money to test this properly, and you're not willing to actually support him so that he can grow it. Even the apps that we use here, for instance, even taking cab application as an example, before you knew them, they were not as perfect. They're not still perfect. They just, the money you pay them is what actually enables them to employ people to improve those applications. So we be patient with each other. And I'm not saying that, we are closed for business for whoever wants to come to invest. I'm saying we should level the playing field for both of the innovations.
Our leaders should invest in those people.
Absolutely.
And, over time, they will get better.
Absolutely.
Like you said, one of the things in business also, when you look at an African business, it's going to cost me $1,000 to design this thing.
Yeah.
However, I need about $5,000 for marketing. If the guy goes to the bank or our leaders and say, I need $6,000. They say, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
I'm going to spend $1,000 to design. I need $5,000 to market. They'll look at him and go,
are you mad?
Are you crazy?
Yeah.
But those are what the other guys did to make it an everyday name to sell.
Yeah.
So we need to believe in who we are, respect our own homegrown solutions, and that's the only way we're going to move forward.
Absolutely. I cannot agree more. And
I want to chip into that conversation because it's very close to my heart.
Please.
And for me, what I see where the issue lies is we have a lot of young people who are developing these amazing apps.
Yeah.
But the issue is you go to someone who has money and you go into them so that they can support you to grow. The first thing they ask you is they already are self-sufficient. They are financially empowered. They can support you. They can actually help you grow and incubate you in one way to propel.
Yeah.
But the first thing they ask you is, what's my stake in your business?
Yeah.
I want to put my son. I want to put my daughter in that business. And you built this for your legacy so that you can also grow. And now this is someone who has the financial muscle to help you. You've gone to them for support, but they will not support you unless they have a stake in your business. Again, a lot of this is also driven by selfishness of our own people. I'm saying, help me.
Yeah.
Let's come up with a model that allows me to pay you back if that's what it takes. Because we see the difficulty in financial institutions actually giving money to young people who are coming up with all this tech, but they don't have experience, they don't have jobs, so they don't have the security to pay back these loans. Those are some of the industry challenges. For me, what I believe AU needs to be doing is they need to create a tech hub for Africa as the body that oversees the interest of the continent.
Yes.
Come up with a body that has a technology hub, culture hub, a tourism hub, different hubs that are looking at different things, where innovations from Africa can be tested, can be funded from, and can even then be advanced and promoted and given the right platforms to grow from Africa. For me, that is where then the likes of African Union will start adding value. When we talk about intra-Africa free trade, what are we trading when we can't move goods from Nigeria to Kenya to South Africa to Ghana to Uganda to Tanzania? What are we trading? Why don't we start with our homegrown products? Why can't we start from where we are? You know, we need to even have our own venture capitalists. Most of the funded products, services, businesses in Africa, most of them are funded outside the continent.
Yes.
I'll give you a good example. Look at Flutterwave. They had to go in the US to get funding. Very few is being funded from the continent. How do we change that?
Yes. Number one, the government should have R&D budget, which I don't know of any African country that is...
They do, but clearly it goes into people's pockets, if at all. I believe.
People would rather buy a plot and an apartment instead of investing in something that actually could convert.
Investing in the youth, investing in our people. You know? I started my story by talking and giving a reference to Kariakor.
Yes.
I still want to believe if somebody looks at the blueprint of Nairobi or the map of Nairobi, then there was a market segmentation. What happened to it? What happened to the budget allocations for building that market, basically? Kikomba, all those places that we grew up knowing that they have big trade drivers. You know? What happened?
It's a very good question. In case you don't know where Kariakor is, you can just load up your Google Map. Okay, Google Map is from California. Wish you had one. Or you can do TomTom.
Kidogo Map.
Even TomTom is Dutch. Where are we safe? Anyway, Google Map and load in satellite, and you can see actually Kariakor the way it looks. You can even go back in the day.
Go back in the 70s.
See
it's
the
still
transition.
The same. It's still the same.
I agree with you. At least for me, I have a privilege to know where Kariakor is.
Actually, let me just describe. Kariakor is where you get all these Maasai products, like your Maasai shoes and all that. And the others come here, buy Maasai shoes and chondos, the baskets, the authentic African baskets. They buy them. They go redesign it a little bit, maybe pad it, add a little bit of leather touch into it, patent it, and then make it authentically theirs. Label it, put a label there. But these products are originally from here.
Absolutely.
Why are we ripping our people?
Because we are greedy.
Then we need to change that narrative.
Yes. It doesn't matter how much you clean the pig. Remains the pig unless you change the narrative and the mindset.
That's why those policies are important to be reviewed so that we can get down to the basics of improving the livelihood of our own people.
Again, just to be fair, we are at Africa's Talking, and Africa's Talking hosts monthly hackathons where we are trying to see which solutions can we build at scale. And not only in Kenya, actually, everywhere we have presence in market, and we're scaling these real quick. The only challenge is that, we have so much resources. But if you think about this initiative, it can actually open so many doors. And for us, we don't ask for any equity or whatever. And even we discourage guys from just running to raise funds. And there's nothing wrong about raising funds. But if you have a solid idea, the best investor that there will ever be is the customer. He will never ask you for what you don't have. You'll never pay for what you don't build. So they can actually grow your business. And you have seen so many young people actually build business. As you speak, there's a gentleman who has a company with 30 young software engineers building solutions globally. Some guys now are working for banking. Some guys now have a startup for laundromats, and so on and so forth. And all this is designed with an African in mind.
Good.
Not only that, but also we have Africa's Talking Women in Tech initiative, whereby we are saying, we need more ladies to write code. And what this does as an engineer is that it brings the element of a woman when it comes to the solution, which For sure, and I agree as a man, that is not the same. The same way you build a solution is not the same way you build a solution. Because for you, number one, does it really serve the solution? For me, I might be just wanting to make more money to marry 5 wives or